Hello everyone, Brenton here. No real hockey news today. So I was sort of looking at what videos I could do today, and a few of the projects that I haven't really come to fruition yet. And I was like, oh, I need some content. And I just had a random thought in my head that has a team ever been perfect in the playoffs? So it kind of shot me down a rabbit hole of sense, and obviously this video is titled, has a team ever gone 16-0 in the playoffs? So we're going to run through. In short, no. The answer is no. No team has ever done that, but teams have been perfect. And we'll kind of run through who those were and some of the best in the modern era now that you need 16 to win. So, two teams back when you only needed 8 wins to win the Stanley Cup. Because the problem is between, when the Stanley Cup started being given out to the 50s, it was all over the shop. It was 7 wins, it was 5 wins, it was like a weird contest between a few teams. The league really wasn't established for a long time. Even though we look back and we're like, yeah, it was the NHL and that. But really, for me, the NHL is the original 6. That's kind of the NHL, and I use original in air quotes because a lot of the original 6 weren't actually part of the original 6. So yeah, the first team to be able to do the undefeated run was back when you only had to play 8 games, win 8 games, to get the Stanley Cup. Those were the semi-finals and then the finals. And the first team to do it was the Detroit Red Wings in 51-52. The team for the Red Wings was just so stacked. I mean, Gordie Howe, this was his debut. This was actually his debut playoffs. Scored 2 goals in his actual debut for his first game. Ted Lindsay's on this team. It's really a who's who. Terry Sawchuk was the netminder. It's pretty unbelievable, the names that are on this team, and you can see why they were pretty hard pressed to beat. So in the first round, I couldn't find too much on the first round, actually. The historical records, I think, are a little bit behind some sort of paywalls and some things out there. I'm trying to get into some of those societies and whatnot, so I can sort of go through this stuff. But they beat the defending champions, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Haven't been able to say that one in a while. Defending champions, Toronto Maple Leafs. 4-0. Then they reached the playoffs against the Montreal Canadiens, which was no slouch of a team. Absolutely dominated them. 2 goals were scored against them all series, and they managed to get 3, all games except for 1, where they got 2. So they were just phenomenal. Again, Gordie Howe, first game in the Stanley Cup Finals, got 2 goals. So yeah, really pronounced himself to be what was to come for his talents. Then 8 years later, 1960. Montreal Canadiens, after having it done to them, or being the record holders, the first team to, I guess, be on the losing end of a perfect playoffs, they also went on a perfect run, and this team was also stacked. Maurice Richard, Bolivar, it's unbelievable, the team that, again, it's just this entire team's in the Hall of Fame. It's just, it's ridiculous. I heard stories, I think it was this series, it may have been one of their other cups, that their third-line center, the year before, was a first-line center on the Blackhawks. It's just lunacy that this team was together, and yeah, they just destroyed everything that got in its way. By the way, the Red Wings, before I move on too far, the reason why they throw the octopus is because it was 8 wins to get the Stanley Cup, and, 8 legs, and so seafood must be thrown. But yeah, they haven't gone to the two octopuses. Or we're at the point of genetic advancements and genetic manipulations. I think we should get a 16-legged octopus just for, and we'll build it in a lab and then we'll throw it out on the ice just for the Detroit fans, so they can have so it's all with the modern times. But yeah, that's why. So if you ever wonder why they throw out an octopus, or if you don't know that story, then yeah, every playoffs, usually there's an octopus being thrown. I remember the Penguins actually beat them. Yeah, there was a few octopus, I don't know how to say that, being thrown out there. Then we sort of go to 67, 68, and 75, 76. The Montreal Canadiens winning 2 cups, managed to do it 12 wins and 1 loss. So back in the day where it was just the 3 rounds, but yeah, only dropping the 1 game. And again, star-studded lineups everywhere you go. But that's not why you're here to watch this video. You want to know who has been the best playoff team of all time in our current format, our current 16-game format. it's a crazy run. It's 16-2. 16-2. In the modern era, it's the Kings. The Kings managed to do it 16-4. So they did it in 20 games. That was the LA Kings back in 11 when they were just like completely unstoppable. Otherwise, back when it was when it was the first round was only 3 wins. There's a few teams that are 15-3. The Oilers and the Islanders managed to hit up that mark. Yeah, 11-12 was the Kings. So that's the modern era. That's like the modern mark. Also, the last Montreal Canadiens Cup in '93. Patrick Roy pretty much won that finals. Like I just went back and watched it because I've never actually really seen it outside of. Well, I mean, we didn't really get the telecast back then in Australia, and I went back and he 100% stole that. Like, it's the Patrick Roy show. Like, it's unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable. And they went 16-4 too. So 93, and then Jonathan Quick. But really the whole team, and that was that stacked like Blackhawks and Kings would just trade every year. I mean, the Red Wings were around. The Ducks had a really good team, and they just couldn't like progress any further. But yeah, it was such an unbelievable run from Quick. I remember that season, and like Dustin Brown had a coming out party. Kopitar, Richards, that was another one as well. They had a really good team. But again, it's not the best. Like I said, 16-2, so losing 2 games. But they managed to play 19 games. I'll give you a moment to sort of think. Well, how does that work? How does that work, Brenton? If they have 16 wins and 2 losses, and there's no tie. How do they play 19 games? Well, this was the year I was born, actually. Well, 87, 88. So I was born in 87. The Edmonton Oilers. I mean, who else would it be, right? Like, this team was just a dynasty. Oh, this is their lineup. This is it. It's pretty much every giant hut card that's, like, ever existed that you're like, I want it. Like, even their, like, fringe 4th line is amazing. Like, it's just... It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Like, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's always going to be great when you have the great one on the lineup there. But yeah, in Curry, McTavish, McSorley, I mean Messier, like it's actually just Steve Smith. It's just actually unbelievable. Grant Fur, like it is unbelievable, this lineup, and so it's no surprise that they managed to go on an absolute tear. But yeah, they dropped. Edmonton beat Winnipeg, Calgary, Detroit, and Boston. And Boston was the Cup final. Winnipeg was where they dropped their first game, and that was in the first series. They clean swept in the division finals, conference finals. They dropped 1 to Detroit. Must have been sleeping that day. And then against Boston, they swept them, but they played 5 games. And that is because in one of the games, there was a blackout when the score was tied at 3-3. And the Power didn't come back, so they ended up playing it again. A little bit of fun fact for you. Little throw in there. But yeah, I always think that's such a crazy event. Just like the Power goes out and they're like, oh, well. It's the most 80s thing in the world. They're just like, oh, well. All right, we don't know how this Power thing works. But yeah, the Oilers had just tied it up. It was just before the end of the second period, and then lights go out. Also, fun fact, Glenn Anderson had the quickest goal in the finals. He scored that in that game, and then it was broken a few years later. But, like, yeah, pretty crazy game all in all. And then they rescheduled the game. Oilers won it, so they didn't need to sort of push out the series anymore and then go from there. But, yeah, pretty crazy that they, like, got more than halfway through a game, and then it's like, well, yeah, we need to abandon that because, we don't know what to do. But yeah, I thought it was crazy that they played 19 games and won 16, lost 2, and nothing else going from there. Anyway, guys, a little bit of a history sort of rundown thing. If you did like this video, hit the like button and put that in the comments down below if these are this kind of videos that you guys want to see. A little bit of something different. I could have deep dived a little bit more into it, but I didn't want to be too fact heavy. If you do want it to be more fact heavy, let me know. I mean, I just don't want to be reciting numbers the whole time. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting thought experiment. And again, like in case you haven't realized, there's not much really going on at the moment. They're still talking, the NHL, and yeah, we're just like, please just, can we watch some hockey, please? Anyway, and if you've made it all this way and you haven't subscribed, please do so. It really does help us out. We're up to 318. We're growing this thing. We've got some more jersey openings coming up. Some of you guys have sent me some mail because Australia Post sent me some texts to say that like there'll be stuff in the Parcel Locker. So unbelievable. And if you do want to send anything, that it is down below, but you don't have to. It's just, I mean, it makes my day. And yeah. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, we got some random jersey openings. We got plenty of stuff going up until Christmas. And yeah, but yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. See you, and bye.